Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Bronx Reefer Brock, back with another episode for this channel. Today's episode is about copperband butterfly fish. Copperbands have been labeled as one of the more difficult fish to keep in the hobby due to the fact that they are very finicky, and getting them to eat initially is a big problem with a lot of reefers, a lot of people that try to keep this fish. So in this episode, I'm going to give you guys my steps as to how I was able to keep and maintain this copperband butterfly fish. First things first, as you can see, there is a hippo tang here in my quarantine tank. It's not really a quarantine tank per se, because I don't dose any medications or anything like that when I initially get new fish. It's more of an observation tank, and I also put a few rocks and things in the tank, so a fish like a copperband, who likes to look in the crevices for pods and aptasia and things like that, he likes to search for his food, he'll feel more at home with a few items in the tank. Ordinarily I would keep the tank completely empty. So it's more of an observation tank. But as you can see, I have a small hippo tang and I have the copperband, and my plan was to buy them together so I could introduce them into the 90 gallon. This worked out better than I thought, actually. I didn't really have any problems when they first came in, but most people that know about the copperband, the main thing is getting them to eat initially. And I had a plan, and I'm gonna go over those steps with you in a few minutes. But as you can see here, the hippo tang and the copperband were extremely close. They bonded. These guys got along the moment they were released into this quarantine observation tank, and I really didn't expect that, but it worked out in my favor. I was hoping that the hippo tang would help ease the nervousness or the stress levels of the copperband. I've had hippo tangs before, so I'm pretty familiar with keeping them healthy, and even though they can be magnets, if you do it right, you keep them happy, you keep the stress levels down, you can be successful with the hippo tang. Copperband, this is my first one, so I wanted to make him extremely happy and stress-free, and give him a little space to swim around and feel comfortable in. It is said that these are an expert level or advanced level fish to keep in your aquariums. I agree with that, but they're not totally baffling. If you plan ahead, you can figure out the steps to take to make these fish happy. It's also said that they're like a peaceful tank. You can't have aggressive fish in your main system and add these fish in, because it'll be a disaster. Because I have tangs and I have other wrasses and things like that that are a little rambunctious, I wanted to make sure that this copperband has every chance to survive. And so let's move on to how I got this copperband to feed. First things first, I went to the store and I bought everything I thought the copperband might eat. Now, I'll keep a full stock of regular fish food, flakes and pellets and things like that for the tank anyway. But I figured, if I follow the guidelines of what other people have said, what these fish need to survive, if I have a stock of them, I should be okay. I started out with the brine shrimp, actually. The brine and the mysis worked immediately. I started with bloodworms as well. They say to use blackworms at times, but I could find bloodworms, and copperband took right to it. So the brine, mysis, bloodworms worked right away. Here's a shot of the 90, the main tank, and as you can see, I've gotten both the copperband and the hippo tang acclimated to the 90 gallon tank. Here you can see I have foxface, I have clownfish, I have the purple tang, who's the actual boss of the tank. But if you notice, the copperband and the hippo tang still stay relatively close to each other. So they kind of bonded, and at no point did they hide from the other fish. Did they run? Were they stressed out? The purple tang did have to let them know who was the boss of the tank. So he did rough them up for a couple of hours. I used the old mirror trick to lower the aggression, so I let the purple tang watch his own reflection for a little while, and that kind of took the stress levels down. But surprisingly, the hippo tang did not hide. The copperband was not fazed by any of the aggression, and these guys settled right in immediately. The only problem that I did run into was the foxface. So the foxface was actually more aggressive towards these new guys coming in than the purple tang was. So what I did was, I have a fish trap. I actually wanted to catch the purple tang because I believed that he would be the problem, and I would move him to the quarantine observation tank for a while to let the copperband and the hippo tang settle in. But I ended up catching the foxface first. So I took the foxface out, I removed him, and I left him in the observation tank for 3 weeks. 3 weeks by himself. He was pissed off, but it worked out great. There was no aggression. The purple tang had everything under control. He didn't have to chase anyone. These guys settled in. And after a 3-week period, I put the foxface back in, and he was the one that actually had to deal with, being the new guy. So it was kind of strange to see. He felt comfortable coming back into the tank, but the other fish still had to, what would you call it? They had to reintroduce him. They had to, get him used to the tank again. Let him know where he stood, that the rules had changed. Normally, I feed my tank once a day in the evenings. Because of the copperband and because I have so many fish now, I'm feeding twice a day. The first time would be before I leave for work, usually around 7, 8 in the morning. I will feed 1 cube of mysis. Right now, as you can see, I'm feeding them a cube of mysis. If you notice, the copperband is not afraid of the feeding frenzy, and he prefers to actually feed from the cube itself. Of course, he eats, whatever's in the water column, but he enjoys the competition, and I thought he would shy away from that, but he hasn't. He's right there in the middle of everything once the food is in the tank. So overall, these I want you guys to understand, these are my steps. Everyone's not going to be successful with it, but don't shy away from these fish. Just make sure when you're at the fish store, your local reef store, whatever, make sure that you observe the fish, make sure it's active. If you can, have the owner of the store or whoever feed the fish before you purchase it, just to make sure that it's healthy and it's active from the start. That's going to increase your chances of success right off the bat. And lastly, I am going to do a full update on the tank. I haven't done an update in quite a while. I've had a few struggles with hair algae and things like that. A lot of my corals have suffered and browned out. Some are coming back, but I'll keep you guys updated, and I'll let you know of my success rate. Right now, I am using a combination of Vibrant and Phosphate RX. As you can see, my water is crystal clear. Bounce back is in progress, and it's going very well. I'm going to load up on a few more corals soon. I just wanted to get my fish game all right. It's funny, it seems that when my fish game is good, my corals suffer, and then when my corals are good, my fish suffer. But anyway, check for the updates. This is your boy Bronx Reefer Brock. Thanks for checking in. See you guys later.